Elena Diaz was a municipal zoning attorney. Her world was defined by use permits, height restrictions, and the sacred separation of residential, commercial, and industrial zones. She spent her days enforcing the strict boundaries of urban planning, ensuring that a loud factory never appeared next to a quiet school, and she possessed a near-photographic memory for local city ordinances. Elena lived in the highly exclusive, residential-only community of Sterling Pines, where the HOA board, led by the self-proclaimed visionary chairman Thomas Vance, operated with an almost imperial sense of immunity. For years, the HOA reserves had mysteriously grown, allowing the board to fund lavish, unnecessary projects, imported Italian tile in the clubhouse restrooms, a private staffed coffee bar for board meetings, and a massive unwarranted salary for Vance's crony, the property manager. Residents, like Elena, saw their dues remain high while receiving minimal benefit, all while Vance boasted about the HOA's financial ingenuity. Elena's suspicions were first triggered not by a financial statement, but by the sight of heavy-duty, commercial HVAC units and thick, armored conduit being installed near the rarely used clubhouse attic. This was immediately followed by the appearance of non-HOA maintenance crews who only accessed the site after dark, carrying sophisticated electronic equipment. The HOA provided vague explanations about upgrading the security network, but Elena's professional instinct screamed commercial use specifically, a telecommunications installation often hidden in residential areas to bypass public opposition. She knew that Sterling Pines was zoned R1, single-family residential, exclusively, meaning commercial operations of any kind were strictly prohibited within the common areas, including the clubhouse, which was only permitted for accessory use by residents. Elena's investigation began in the public record, the place where all municipal secrets are eventually exposed. She spent weeks meticulously cross-referencing public documents. She filed Freedom of Information Act FOIA requests with the City Planning Department and the Building Inspector's Office. She didn't ask about the HOA directly. She asked about any recent building permits or use variance applications filed for the Sterling Pines address. The response confirmed her suspicions. The city had no record of any permits for the work being performed, and critically, there were no commercial use variances granted for the property. This meant the operation was entirely hidden from city oversight. Her major breakthrough came from an innocuous application filed with the Federal Communications Commission, FCC, by a major telecom provider, AetherComm. Hidden deep within AetherComm's public filings for network expansion, Elena found a reference to a microcell node placement, site ID, Spine 782, located at the precise coordinates of the Sterling Pines clubhouse. The documents detailed a private, long-term lease agreement between AetherComm and the Northwood Estates, HOA, for the use of the attic space and a concealed ground-level cabinet to house the telecom node, generating a stunning $15,000 per month in rental revenue. This revenue, which the board had been secretly classifying in their unaudited internal books as miscellaneous utility income, was the source of their lavish spending and Vance's perceived ingenuity. This operation, no matter how small or hidden, constituted an illegal commercial enterprise on protected R1 residential land, a clear violation of City Zoning Ordinance 412.3, prohibited commercial activities in residential zones. Armed with irrefutable proof of the illegal commercial lease and the lack of proper zoning authorization, Elena knew the local court system was too slow. She moved directly to the most powerful, most immediate regulatory mechanism available, the City Zoning Enforcement Division. She did not file a lawsuit. She filed a formal code violation complaint with the city's chief of zoning enforcement. Her complaint was a masterpiece of municipal law, containing certified copies of the AetherComm FCC filing, photographs of the commercial vac and conduit, the official lack of a city use variance, and a specific citation of the violated City Zoning Ordinance. Her professional standing as a municipal attorney added immense, undeniable weight to the complaint. The response from the City Zoning Enforcement Office was instantaneous and devastating to the HOA. Zoning violations are treated with extreme urgency because they threaten the integrity of the city's entire planning framework. Within 48 hours, the city's chief enforcement officer, backed by a building inspector, arrived unannounced at Sterling Pines. They found the heavy-duty commercial equipment exactly where Elena said it would be. The city immediately issued a cease and desist order to the Northwood Estates HOA, declaring the AetherComm installation an illegal, unpermitted commercial use. The order was a binding, non-negotiable legal injunction. The cease and desist order carried a threat that dwarfed any potential HOA fine. The city imposed a mandatory removal deadline of 7 days and stated that failure to immediately comply would result in the initiation of massive, escalating daily fines of $2,500 per day for continuous commercial zoning violation, payable directly to the city, potentially totaling hundreds of thousands of dollars within weeks. Furthermore, the city building department placed a red tag on the entire clubhouse facility, temporarily shutting down all common area access, including the pool and ANS fitness center, until the unpermitted electrical and HVAC work was inspected and brought up to code, measure that enraged every resident. Thomas Vance and the board were thrown into utter chaos. They had assumed they were immune from city oversight, believing their private HOA agreement superseded local law. Their general counsel was forced to deliver the crushing news: the city was correct. The zoning ordinance was absolute, and a private lease, no matter how lucrative, could not override public law. They had illegally risked the entire community's assets for a secret, commercial side deal. Their $15,000 monthly revenue stream instantly evaporated. Worse, the HOA was now legally responsible for the costly, immediate removal of all the specialized AetherComm equipment, which included penalties from the telecom company for breach of contract, and the expense of bringing the clubhouse up to code to remove the red tag. The financial implosion was total. The HOA lost their secret, high-value revenue source, faced severe penalties for breaking the AetherComm contract, and incurred massive costs for the emergency removal and compliance work. The board was forced to initiate a panic-stricken, community-wide special assessment to cover the immediate legal fees, the telecom contract penalties, and the cost of the required compliance work, which easily exceeded $200,000. The illegal activity was exposed to the entire community, who were now furious about the special assessment, the loss of their clubhouse access, and the board's blatant breach of trust. Thomas Vance, facing a barrage of lawsuits from both the residents and the disgruntled telecom company, was forced to resign immediately in disgrace, his reign of financial ingenuity ending in criminal negligence and financial catastrophe. Elena Diaz had used the simple, unyielding truth of municipal zoning law to not only shut down the illegal enterprise, but to ensure that the rule of law, not the arbitrary power of a few board members, governed Sterling Pines.